Yo, 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 this is your boy Larry, and I'm chilling with NFL agent Lavaughn Kelley. What's going on, man?
I'm going on, man. How you holding up?
Woo! Long day. I'm here, though. I'm here.
Hey, that's it. That's all we can ask for.
Hey, I appreciate you for coming on Chilling Vibing Podcast, though, for real, for real.
Oh, definitely, man. I appreciate the invite. I'm just happy to be here. Happy to sit up and chop it up with you.
So, where it all started at, man? Where you from?
From Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Sunshine State, 954. All day long.
Okay. That's what's up, man. Shout out to Florida. So,
Third.
how long you been in football, man? Where it started at?
Uh, Little League, man. I mean, Florida, that's how we kind of put them out, right? So, my daddy got me into football very early, but yeah, I'm Lauderdale Lakes Vikings. Hey, shout out to the black and gold. That brought me along, man. And did my little couple years there, got to middle school, kind of wrapped it up, and then went to high school, went to St. Thomas Aquinas, one of the top dogs down there, still flourishing, and love them boys to death, man. Raider Nation all day. But did my time there and got a scholarship to the Naval Academy. So went up there, played ball for my first time really out of the state. I took my visit in February. I never forget it. It was snow. It was a big snowstorm out there in Maryland. Never had been on a plane, nothing at all. Never seen snow or touched it in my life. But went out there, was sick, didn't really see much, right? It was just white everywhere. But the guys that was there, they were like totally different than what I would have expected, right? You're going to a military background. My daddy was in the Air Force, but the time that I saw growing up, he was in the reserves. So didn't really see too much of his travels. Heard a lot of stories about it, but didn't really have to really bounce around like some of these military families have to do. Um, so when I got there, yeah, I met a cool cat, couple cat, one cat from DC, another cat from Michigan, and they took me under their wing. Then I met one of my good friends, Josh LeBlanc. He was actually being recruited out of Texas. So we really chopped it up. We still talk to this day, and that was really our deciding factor. We chopped it. He played the other corner, and we went to the prep school in Rhode Island in Newport. We balled out there, and he was a baseball cat too, two sport. So he ended up leaving. We went to Houston, so he played ball there. And then I went to the Naval Academy to pursue my dream there. Had a great opportunity, great ride there, right? 3 years started and finished up two bowl games. My senior year, we went to the Emerald Bowl. I was, by the grace of God, was clapped the defensive MVP. I made Sports Illustrated All Bowl team that year, 2004. So it's a long time, right? Long time to kind of hang it up. But once I graduated, as a naval officer, you had that commitment come out the academy. And then just so happened my freshman year, 9/11 was during my freshman year. I remember walking to class and just watching TV. I watched one of the planes hit the second tower. So it was a little different growing up. Grew up kind of fast, and definitely changed your perspective on life when it came to that. So was definitely more appreciative of the time that we did have, more appreciative of those snaps that I could strap up and put the cleats on, put the helmet on. So that made me definitely, it never like dwindled my passion at all. Once I graduated, I still wanted to continue to mentor. So I played a little semi-pro out here. I went to got stationed down in Hampton Roads, Norfolk, Virginia. So was here on the ship for a couple years. Um, Once we got deployed and kind of got in motion, that kind of disappeared for me for the football career at that point. They did allow me to go to the prep school where I started at, right? I coached there for a year. So the 2010 class coming through the Naval Academy, I coached them fresh out of high school before they went to the academy. So it was good to see them and kind of pour into those guys. And then you really learn, right? Or you really understand what you really learned from your coaches and their leadership qualities when you got to pour into a high school cast that's about to go to college, right? So it's very different on that side of the field. But I loved it, right? Because football was still in my genes. Hell, I was still putting on my helmet, running around with the guys too, just kind of keeping them motivated. Because it's tough sometimes being away from home, not having that family member in the stands to watch you play. And that was something I had to deal with, and I wanted to make sure they didn't feel that at homesickness, right? And like I say, Navy was a up and coming still program. We were kind of on a valley side. We was kind of getting onto our peaks as we came out. So as we graduated, we were kind of on a high. We went 10-2, so the team was doing pretty well for ourselves, and our coaching staff was definitely doing great with recruiting. So we was getting players that could play, but it was just hard to keep them, right, with the military commitment thereafter, and then just going through the Naval Academy itself, right, not a typical school, right. So um, being able to just stay close to them, I always stay with the team. So every Army Navy game, if I was in the United States, I was there. I attended. Whether I was on the sidelines or I was at the tailgaters, but I made sure I was there. I'll be there this year. It's in DC, so I'll definitely be there again. So I miss those times, but I love to see them grow as they go from there. I did 20 years in the military, so I'm retired now fully. By the grace of God, I was able to do 20, and every deployment I had, I came home. So I was happy to be here. And while I was here in this stance, like Virginia, I'm not gonna say it's my home, but it kind of became my home, right? A lot of my time was here was spent. Um, and when I came back, I went overseas in about 2015 time frame. 2015, I came back 2017, and one of my other corners, right? He was a senior, he graduated ahead of me. He was an '04 grad. I was '05, but he was already coaching at a high school, local high school down here. He said, "Hey man, you want to coach?" I said, "Yeah, sign me up." So I went and coached. He was the D coordinator. I coached the corners. So our first year, we went to states, right? We ended up not winning, but we had to build a team from scratch. So it was good to try to see them, right, mold those men and cultivate them and get them to a full-bred, all pistons firing team. It was great, and being with the military side of me, I know what it is to kind of deal with personalities and those different picks when it comes to that. So it was just good to see them jail and just young men, right? Very impressionable. So I wanted to make sure I was able to bestow whatever qualities I could and leadership that I learned from the military on them as well, because I already know football is not long, right? It's not guaranteed, and it's definitely a small amount, a select group that are elite enough to play at that level. Again, I tried to do the same thing. So I know what the dance is when it comes to that. So I coached there for 2 years, and I just kind of peeled back, and as I kind of dwindle down on my time in the military, I said, hey, what do I want to do when I retire? Like I don't want to go back to a government job, right? Clocking in 9 to 5, and football never really left me. Right, I still was kind of helping mentoring. It was some of the players that I coached in high school. They went on to the league. They came back here. They're coaching now. So I go to some of the high schools where they coach, and I just watch them, and they always say, like, Coach, was I like this? I'm like, yeah, you was like that. You know, it took some time to get you there, but it's just good to see them now cherish those moments too, right? And watching them be successful, like that's probably one of my passions. When I can see that they're being great and they're thriving in their own purpose, I'm good on the inside, and it's just a blessing to be able to see it. So I just kind of pushed that along the side, and I was like, yeah, if I'm gonna go to school and get my master's, let me see what the business side of this, what it plays out when it comes to football. And I looked into being an agent. I called one of my mentors, Sherm Ledet. We sat and talked over lunch, and we kind of just broke it down. I said, Sherm, I'm about to start a master's. Like, I'm gonna need you. He said, man, say no more. He said, you start that class. He's like, once you get certified, we off and running. And it's really been in the history book since. I got certified 2 years ago. So you kind of get behind the curve a little bit. You take the test in July, after you have a master's, of course, right? But you take the test in July, you get your grades for certification in September. So football season already started. So it's very difficult to recruit some of the guys at that point. But if you build the relationships already, NIL kind of helps you with a little bit of that, right? You can kind of talk to some folks early. But if you already built them, and then once you get certified, you should be good to go. So we had a good draft class. I'm with an agency now, Divine Sports and Entertainment. All of my fraternity brothers, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, of all a part of. So we're the 4 agents a part of that. The 2 founders, they founded in 2017, and then they brought me on 2 years ago. So our last draft class, we had 8 players. Out of the 8, 5 all had an opportunity to strap up professionally. Only 2 of them actually signed contracts to kind of go on. One with the Patriots and one with the Packers. And then right now, of course, today's actual 53-man roster cut day, right? So we've been dealing with a lot of those contracts and different calls and stuff, trying to see if they're making the teams. Some of them have been fortunate. Some of them we're still trying to, in negotiations, trying to get them played out. So it just never stops, right? And then right after this, Friday, I'm taking off to go to California to start my recruiting. The season's already started, so it don't really stop on this end. But I love it though, right? I expect it to have this good up and down pace. Leaving the military, I had to kind of get a grip. So I don't really have a quote unquote schedule, right, or routine. I kind of had to build it myself now. Yeah, so that was a little bit, I ain't gonna say shocking, but it was eye opening once I retired. I really kind of had to take a break, and I'm just looking around like a lot of people was telling me, say, you're gonna forget the days of the week. Like that's when you know that you got to really figure something out. And it happened quick, like in 2 weeks. I couldn't tell you what day of the week it was, right? Until I grabbed my phone and kind of checked some of the things I had, other appointments, stuff like that. And then now I'm strapped up. I got an iPad now, so I put all my scheduling in, so I'm getting real digital, right? I was old school, so I used to write a lot of things down, right? I always write. I got posters all across on my desk and stuff just hanging up. But I'm trying to conform, right, and get to the more efficient way as it goes through that. But all in all, this journey has been a great one. I will never complain by any means. Ups and downs, of course, but that's part of the game, right? And we're just looking forward to it. And this year, I think we're gonna have a good year for the agency.
I saw you was at the Colts Stadium on one of your Instagram posts.
Yeah, we had a player that was out there. So Ethan Fernea was one of our wide receivers that was there. He was on the practice squad, hoping to get elevated up to be on a 53-man roster. Yeah, so we got one there, like I said, with the Packers, and another with the Patriots too. So we all just kind of shuffling around and make sure our guys stay healthy. That's the biggest thing, right? Some of them got a little banged up, so we trying to figure out what's the best place for them and how we're going to pursue their dream still, right? How we going to make sure they're in the right position to be successful.
Oh yeah, that's what's up, man. Just hearing your story, man. Like I tell you, off camera, like everybody got a story, man. And hearing yours, man, it's amazing. Come from the
I appreciate it.
military, playing, and then coaching now, and now free agents. That's dope. That's dope, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate. And like I said, like even with the military in the background now, I draw on a lot of my military experience to help when it comes to recruitment, right? It's those intangibles that you don't really define and you can't really just pick out, right? You got to be able to navigate a person. I mean, athletic talent, man, we already know, right? You can display that early, but you got to see who that person is, right? What's the character like? What's the integrity? How they move on and off the field, right? Because our goal is never just to put somebody in the league like that. There's no point, right? The point, our mantra is we want to carry you from college all the way till you put on the gold jacket, point blank period,
Oh yeah.
right? And we the resources to be the one stop shop that allow you to do that. So I'm a big proponent, like I said, when it comes to my players, when you first get in there, because I'm in charge of player development, you in charge of the white lines. Inside the white lines, that's all you. So go learn your playbook, right? Get with the coaching staff, get with the front office, learn the organization, right? Become a team player. That's what I need you to focus on. And let me focus on the rest. But I'm not just going to do it all the time for you. I want to make sure I'm very transparent. I communicate with you how I'm doing things and what's actually being transpired. Because I'm a father, right? I had a 14-year-old daughter. She just started high school. And my biggest thing is that at some point, I'm not going to be an agent, right? Just like my daughter, at some point, I'm not going to be around her all the time. So I got to be able to equip her for the world. And the same thing with my players. I want to be able to equip you for the sports industry. So whenever day I decide I want to do this anymore and you're still playing, I want you to be able to go to an agent and be comfortable and understand what it takes and what's actually being happening, right? It's too many times a lot of players in it, and rightfully, I get it as young, right? You kind of hands off, right? You just let your agent just go and just kind of do things behind the scenes for you, and you just kind of go with it. And I think that's where a lot of our youth get caught up in some issues because they're not really aware, right? And of course, as an agent, it's our job, right? Our job is to be fiduciary responsible for all of them. So we should always have their best interests in mind, no matter what we do, right? That doesn't change anything. But I think if we equip them with the resources to continue on to do it, I mean, because essentially, right, they hired us, so we work for them. So any and everything, whether they want to know or don't know, I try to put it in front of them. And if they don't want to know at that moment, that's fine. If it's something I think I got to push on, but I never want to leave anything to chance that they're confused or if something I didn't convey to them properly that they didn't understand it. So I always go back, I double check, I reiterate, I make sure we read every line, right? SRA 6 pages. We run through all 6 of those pages. no problem. That's strictly from the NFLPA. And I make sure everyone understands that page. And then parents, we get the parents on the call, make sure they're aware, they understand, right? Because again, I'm a parent too. I want to make sure my baby's taken care of, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure a parent want to make sure their son is taken care of. Like that's the best thing that you can do for a parent once they leave the nest. You know, they've done everything they're supposed to do, and they got him. So he got to school. He's equipped. Athletically, they was able to carry him through. Now he went to school. He's smart enough. Academically, he was able to carry himself through. This professional side, this is my expertise, but I'm supposed to be able to take care of your son. Point blank, period. And I treat it the same way as I was in the military. When I go on deployment, my plan is to bring all my sailors come back. We all come back home, right? 6 months, 8 months, no matter what it is. The day we leave and we come back, whatever time frame we got to get back, but all of us come back whole. And that's always my goal, is to make sure they can go out and come back, and they come back better, right? Don't just come back and being stagnant, right? We, as I say, a part of player development, I want to make sure they can do things inside the white lines and outside the white lines. Leave a legacy, right? Don't just go in here and live in the moment. Like, we're always forward thinking, trying to be innovative, trying to make sure that we can leave an imprint, they can leave an impact for those behind them to carry on.
Yeah. Now, I know you're an NFL agent, but I got a question, man.
What you got?
Who's your favorite NFL team? Well, what's your favorite? Your favorite NFL team?
My favorite team, I mean, as an avid fan, I would tell you that my favorite team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay.
But as a sports, my favorite team is whoever picks up my player.
That's a good one too. Wait, I appreciate you for coming on, man. I didn't want to keep it too long, but before we go, let everybody know what we doing.
Chilling and vibing all day long.
Oh yeah. Thanks, man.
All right, boss man.